Hi guys, so today we're making this deliciously rich chin chin. You know how you eat chin chin sometimes and you have to cure a headache? No, we're not doing that. This chin chin is soft, crunchy, not the extremely hard type that you finish eating and your jaws ache so badly. So we have 800 grams of flour here, 200 grams of sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of nutmeg. We're going to mix that together nicely. And then we move on to our butter. I have 2 sticks of butter here, which is about 250 grams. It's unsalted butter, by the way. You could use salted butter as well. I'm going to give that a quick mix here so that the butter is well incorporated into the dry ingredients. Now I'll be using 3 eggs and 1 cup of evaporated milk. I'm going to mix that together. Now if you want your chin chin to be the hard type, like hard crunchy type, use only 2 eggs. But I'm using 3 eggs and a cup of milk and an additional 2 tablespoons of milk, just because I want it to have a soft, crunchy texture. Now I'm going to mix that together with my dry ingredients. Carefully get that going and make sure it is well combined. Once you see that the dough has come together like this, you don't want to knead it. You don't want to overwork your dough. Just cover it and let it rest for about 10 to 15 minutes. After about 15 minutes, I'm ready to work with my dough. So because my dough is a big one, I had to cut it into 3 parts. So I'll be working with a third of it first, and I'll be rolling it out flat on my work surface. Notice how I flour the dough because I want to prevent it from sticking to the work surface and the rolling pin. Now my dough is a bit soft because, again, the chin chin I'm aiming for here is the soft crunchy type, not the hard type. So yours might be a bit different. The texture of your dough might be a bit different depending on how much milk and egg you add to it. So I'm rolling it out nicely. I want my chin chin, the shape of my chin chin at the end of the day, I want it to be tiny. I don't want to have huge squares. So I'm rolling out my dough flat on the surface, and now I'm going to be cutting it into my desired shape. But first, I'll be taking out the sides just so I have a straight line on both sides of my dough. And I also did the same thing to the top and the bottom. I know it's out of my camera range right now, but that's what I did. What I'm doing here, you could also use your pizza cutter. I prefer to use my knife, and so that's what I did here. But just work with whatever tool you're most comfortable with. So now I'm cutting out my squares. It's really tiny because that's how I want it to be. Some people cut theirs to be a lot bigger than this, but it's all up to you. And it's not just squares, you could also cut it into long strips, which I'll be doing today as well. So don't worry if you find that some of your shapes are sticking together. When it gets into the oil, it actually separates. So you want to heat up some oil. My oil here, I know you are looking at it from the top, it doesn't look it, but it's about 3 inches deep. Make sure that you're not using shallow oil to fry your chin-chin. Make sure your oil is on medium-low heat. Then we want to add our chin-chin to the oil, uncooked chin-chin. And as we do that, you see that it begins to float. Now you want to immediately try to separate whatever pieces might still be sticking to each other. Just by stirring and moving it around, the pieces naturally separate by itself. Also, you want to make sure that from time to time you stir, so that the heat evenly distributes, and you don't have some pieces beginning to burn or whatnot. So I would like my chin-chin to have a golden brown color, and just before you get to that point where you are comfortable with the color, just about, you see what I have in the bowl there, just before you get there, in your pan, you start to bring out the chin-chin, you start to strain it. So once you notice that you're about 30 seconds to achieving that color, start to strain your chin-chin, because once your chin-chin gets out of the oil, it still continues to, the color gets darker a little bit. So you want to start, as long as you know that it's well cooked, it's well fried, you can start straining it. The chin-chin retains some heat in it, so that even after you've strained it out of the oil, it fries just a little bit more. Another thing is, you don't want to be in a hurry to eat it. You need to let it sit for a while, let it cool down. That's when the crunch, actually settles in. And there we have it. You see what the color is now at the end of the day. This is exactly what I want. I also want to show you that you don't have to stick to the square shapes. People also do long strips, and I thought, okay, let me do that here as well. So I did a bit of my chin-chin. I fried a bit of my chin-chin in this shape. So this is my final result. With the quantity that I mixed, the dough that I mixed, I was able to get 2 large bottles of chin-chin and 50 packs of chin-chin. I did this chin-chin for a family event, a Christmas party. It was absolutely delicious. Thank you for watching my video today. Try this recipe out and let me know in the comment section what you think. See you in my next one. Bye.
What?
You want to make sure that, see.
Oh no.
Oh my God. Hot, the oil is hot, yes.
Do you know who put my ornament up on the tree?
Sure, don't bubble.
Who put my ornament on the tree?
I did. Now it's on medium-low heat, and I'm going to just go ahead and I don't need to step away right now. It's one. Will work.